Joining in, Sunjay Kapur, the chairman of Sona Koyo Steering Systems, joins in. This is after the promoters decided to sell their entire stake to their Japanese partners. That's really the first question. What led you to sell your entire 25% stake in Sona Koyo? Because this is one of the oldest groups in India, and you've sold it to your Japanese partner. Take us through the rationale behind it.
Yeah, well, as a group, we're pretty large in terms of in the automotive market. We're well invested in the automotive space. If you look at the history of Sona, we've started with Koyo, of course, as a technical collaboration. Koyo then invested and increased their equity to 20% in the early 2000s. Following which, in 2007, we set up a new subsidiary where we manufactured the electronic power steering, where JTKET had majority and Sona Koyo had a minority stake. And eventually, over a period of time, we figured that we were restricted to an Indian market space because Koyo, JTKET is a global company. To allow us to really grow globally, was always a restriction in terms of the fact that JTKET has operations around the world, and we were just restricted to the Indian market space with manual gear. And it made most sense to actually bring the two companies together, JTKET and Sona, and give them the stake or the opportunity to run the business. Within the Sona Group, our focus is really where we own the technology, which is in the forging business, where we have a global market share of 19%. And our aim is really to increase that. And this again relates to the fact that that's a company that we own the technology, whereas in the steering business it was technology that JTKET owned and continues to excel in.
All right, Sanjay, then that point is well taken. But what will be the shareholding pattern post the deal? Will the Kapoor family own any stake in the company or not?
No, post the deal, JTKET will own the 25% equity that we owned as promoters. So we're actually divesting our entire equity stake to give them equity.
Any particular reason why the promoters didn't even want to keep a small minority stake in the entity?
Well, I mean, the way we look at it is we'd like to grow in our forging business. That's somewhere that we own the technology, as I said before. We already have a global presence with manufacturing in Europe. We've set up new factories in Hungary as well. We have a lot of business coming from the United States as well. And that's a business that we'd like to invest more in and grow more in.
Well, Sanjay, are you happy with the valuations, given that some people believe that the deal could have been done at a higher price?
I think, a valuation of 100 is unrealistic. We've done a deal of, it's north of 10 times EBITDA, which in our business is good. We've had a flat growth in terms of flat growth in terms of sales and margins in the last few years. Our stock's been at about, 2 years ago it was in the high 30s. Most of this year it was in the 50s. And of course, with talk, of a stake sale, that's got to rally the stock up. But I think from a realistic perspective, I feel it's a good deal.
Okay. Just to reconfirm, the Kapoor family will not be a part of the board also, right?
No, we'll be exiting the company once the deal is completed.
Well, Maruti also has some stake in the company. Are you aware what Maruti could have planned with that stake that they have?
Well, Maruti has 6% stake in the company, and I'm not sure, I can't comment on what Maruti may want to do going forward.
Okay, and finally, how do you see the steering business going ahead? Because now it will be an MNC company. What changes should we expect in their strategy?
I think from a perspective of, product development, new product development, I think from all the kind of, requirements in terms of safety, in terms of validation, etc., it'll become a much quicker process because it's one large organization and, the integration will be a lot better. In terms of joint ventures, there's always, you're going back to the parent for technology, you're going back to the parent for certain sort of validations and testing, etc. this will, I hope, make it a lot easier for the customer to, to deal with the company in India. It'll make it a lot quicker for a customer to get a product out. So I'm hoping that this will only benefit the business because it'll all become one large business and one face. Currently, if you look at the structure of Sona Koyo, we're dealing with different subsidiaries for different products. Bringing everything together will make it a lot easier for customers.
Okay, that's the word from Sona Koyo. The stock has slipped about 3% today, but that's just a case of profit booking. Pull up the performance of the chart this year and you could see close to about a 35% up move. So that should be